Mulis, in this session, I'll be going to teach you about DynamoDB, how we can connect to DynamoDB from MuleSoft. So, a little introduction about DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a NoSQL managed database. It is one of the AWS services that we have. So, for this proof of concept purpose, I have created a AWS account of a free trial account, and I'm using DynamoDB service. So, if you want to try it out, even you can do the same. It's free of cost. So before going into DynamoDB, let me show you a few things in AWS console itself. So if you search for DynamoDB, here it says manage NoSQL database. So it is different from SQL database, right? So I will click on DynamoDB. So if at all you want to create a new table inside DynamoDB, click on create table. So I'll be creating MuleSoft-TechZone. This is my DynamoDB database, and partition key is nothing but something like a primary key, which we call in SQL terms. So I will be giving the name as empid as one of the primary keys, and let me give the type as number. Okay, and sort key is optional. It's kind of additional of like more than one primary key. If your table has, you can mention it in sort key. Okay, for now I am not going to do that. I am just using empid and leaving it as it is. So you don't have to define the columns right away when you are creating a table. All that you need to do is define your partition key and sort keys while creating the table, and rest everything whenever you add the items. So items is nothing but the rows in SQL terms. Whenever you add, I'll show you that whenever you add, it will automatically create those columns. So that's it. Everything I'm keeping it as default, and I'll be creating a table here. It will take like maybe 1 or 2 minutes to become active. So I do have a database already called MuleSoft database, which is active, but here I am going to create a new one. So here you can see partition key for the previous database is empid, which is string, but for now I am giving it as a number. So these are very important. The data types are very important here. All right, so yeah, I think the status is active. If I clicked on MuleSoft-TechZone, so now I have to go back to some SQL editor to view the number of rows returned and etc. So for that we have particular editor. If you click on that, so select star form. If you go here MuleSoft-TechZone and click on scan table, it will give the statement automatically, and if you run it, for now you don't have any kind of data because there are no rows inserted here. Rows are called as items. Okay, and moreover, like the view, the whatever resultant we have, it will be viewed in JSON format. That is the format for NoSQL. So here for now we have no items. So what we need to do is we need to insert some items. So what I'm going to do is I have insert statement. This is pretty easy. It's similar to SQL statement, but only difference is insert into table name and values of this is a object. So whenever you want to add something, it's a key value pair. So directly you don't have to write all this column names first and then values of. Here it is a direct SQL statement. Insert into the table name values of this JSON object. Okay, so these are the columns that you can insert. So let me give one and start run. So it is saying like double keys must be of type string, actual type varies under root 958. So okay, here I am doing something wrong, maybe because let me run and check. Yeah, now it is run successfully because if it is not accepting double quotes. And if I go back to query one and run it, right, now it is in if I go to table view, let me run it. So it says unable. Okay, let me scan the table. You can see here my database is added with all these columns automatically. We have not created these columns. When we have created the table, it automatically adds into your table. So this is the advantage of NoSQL. If you go to JSON view, this is how it looks. Okay, it is a array of, so items is nothing but rows in terms of SQL, and each item is designated with like number of objects. So each object is a column. Again, in each column here you can see it says like S35. So S is nothing but it represents string. Okay, so N represents number. Likewise, boolean, it represents bool. Okay, so this is how it looks. So it's basically array of objects. Okay, array of objects, and within each object, as this is one row, it is like the 0th index. Let me try to add one more, um, row or item, I can say. So now I am going to give an extra, additional column. Let's say like um, role, and I'll say developer, and if I just run it, okay, it says duplicate primary key exists. Yeah, because I'm using the same empid. So let me add two and run it. It's added successfully. If I go here and scan the table, here you can see two rows are two items are seen here, but you can see there will be an additional column now, role. Okay, so this is how it automatically creates the columns inside the database. So this is all about a little introduction about DynamoDB, how it looks. Again, if you go to the JSON view, here you can see we have two items now, which are means two rows, and each item, for the first item you can see there are 8 items, and the second item you can see there are 7 items. So whenever you are adding a new row, right, whenever you're adding a new row, that particular give me a second, let me show, let me run it. Yeah, so whenever you are adding a new row, that will become the 0th index. You can see here the 0th index is having the role, so the latest one is always the 0th index. That's how it represents, and it will always show how many items are present inside each object. All right, so this is a little introduction about how, what is DynamoDB and how it looks inside AWS console. Now our thing is to connect from MuleSoft. All right, if you go to Anypoint Studio, so I have set up all these things already. So DynamoDB, we have a connector inside Exchange. So if you search for DynamoDB, so you can see Amazon DynamoDB connector is already present, so you need to add it. I have already added, and that's the reason it is showing in my MuleSoft palette. So now the first thing which I wanted to show in this video, I'll be making a series of videos on DynamoDB. So this will be the first one. So all that I will do is how to connect to DynamoDB. That's what I will be showing, and then yeah, we will see the different types of operations in the further videos. So first I will be using how to get the result. So scan table is basically a select statement that we will be doing. Okay, so how we can connect to DynamoDB and how to do this scan operation we'll be seeing. So I have dragged and dropped this scan operator, and I have configured AWS connection. So it's pretty much easy. It's just like any other AWS services. Like if you go with Amazon S3 or anything, the only way to connect to AWS S3 is by getting access key and secret key. All right, so if you give access key and secret key, for now I am providing it in a property file, but you will be getting your access key and secret key in your security credentials over here. So if you go to, if you are new to AWS or if you are new to MuleSoft, where you'll be having access key and secret key is here. Okay, I have access key, but secret key will be created whenever you are creating a new access key. Okay, so make sure that you get your access key and secret key, paste them over here. It's very simple, and test the connection. Make sure that you are inside the VPN and all. So test connection is successful, and go back to your message flow. It's pretty simple. I'm doing nothing. So here you can see I was connecting to MuleSoft database, which I have used earlier. But if let me see if I can refresh, and if I get, you can see now my database is showing over here. Even if your this thing is not working, don't worry, just hard code the value directly over here, the table name. All right, so now that I am using MuleSoft-TechZone as the database, here I'm using these options all attributes. Okay, so that you will get all the attributes. Rest I am using as is, like I am not touching any of them. And let me save this. Okay, In this transform message, I'm doing nothing. I'm just keeping application JSON. This is also not required, but just for for future transformation it is necessary. So let me check if my application is redeployed. Yes. And if I send the request here, so here you can see how the output response is coming from DynamoDB. So this is basically an object. Okay, the output of DynamoDB scan result is always an object which has different fields like scan, count and count. These are nothing but the number of rows, or here we are calling as items. Okay, it will give the count of that, and inside each item you will be having, now that we are having two rows or two items, we will be having two objects here. Okay, this is the first object which has emp id. So here you are here you should be seeing something different. For each emp id it is giving some attributes, right? So basically it is like null value is null, so it is giving the kind of metadata or data type. All right, as we have chosen emp id as a number, you can see your value will be inside n represents number, s represents string, boolean represents bool. Likewise we have different database long, all this stuff. Okay, it will definitely give the output as this one. So if at all you need to access the value of n number 2, you need to do some data view like items dot empid dot n, then only it will give the value 2 here. Likewise if you see org name, the value is under string. Okay, the role it is a string. Okay, like that in each item for each column it will be having all these attributes within that. So in the second item as well, here you can see number 1, 35, all this stuff, email id, all this stuff will be under the string. So this is how you need to connect to DynamoDB from MuleSoft. It's very easy, just an access key and secret key is required, and there are different kind of operations. Next, in maybe in the next video I'll be showing how to put an item. Put an item is nothing but inserting an item. Here we have inserted this these rows through the console. Okay, using AWS console itself, the particle I have tried to insert it, but how to insert from MuleSoft we'll be seeing in the next videos. Hope you understood the concept of DynamoDB and how to connect from MuleSoft. So we will see more videos coming up for different types of operations.